It stings. It's like a scab that always heals over, and it does. There's not a long, the scar is there, and then here comes the scab again, and it's a never ending, thing. I'll take you back to when I went to college. I went to college at Brockport. I started in 2009, and my first weekend there, as a freshman, I came in as an EOP student, so I had a group of friends. They had 75 of us there over the summer, so we were together, so it kind of forged a bond. And so there was this movie called The Strand, and you pay 50 cents and you see any movie you want. And as a freshman, that's what we did, because we weren't really immersed into what college life is like yet. So our first weekend there, we are hype and we all get together and we walk our way through town to go to the movies. And on our way there, a car drives past us. It's a group of Black and brown folks. A car drives past us, and it's a group of white guys, and they scream at us, "You N-words, go home." And that was my first real time being in such a predominantly white space. I went to a predominantly Black school. My neighborhood is predominantly Black and brown. That was my first real feel of just a whole bunch of whiteness. So from then on, things like that happened repeatedly on campus. I went to a predominantly Black school, so I didn't have a lot of Hispanic friends, but in college that was kind of shifted. It was polar opposite. I had a lot of Hispanic friends, and we all spoke Spanish to each other, and on multiple occasions they would tell us, "Speak English, this is America." And that's something that actually just happens everywhere, though, so that doesn't just happen on campus. That also happens in our neighborhood. It happens pretty much anywhere I go. My mother doesn't speak English. She speaks Spanish, and so they say this repeatedly to my mother. They'll say it to me when I'm speaking to my mother. So it's something that's always constant and happening, as if English is an American thing and it didn't come from Britain. The N-word piece is something I will never forget, because it happened so fast, and it felt like a movie kind of at first, because you only see stuff like that on movies. You don't I had never personally been attacked in that way outside of Speak English, this is America. So I didn't spend any more weekends on campus after that, not particularly walking into town, and not, I used to think it was a devil's playground, because that's exactly what used to happen. It was just, they could do and say whatever they wanted to, and the administration at Brockport didn't necessarily respond in any way that protected us folks of color, or kind of shielded us from anything. They just kind of got to do what they wanted, and we just kind of had to suck it up, kind of like what we do now. And as far as this is America, I think that's what really frustrates me, and that's one of the ones that really works my nerve. I like to say that English is my oppressor's favorite weapon, because if you want to limit folks, if you want to limit their access, if you want to limit what they can do, you put it in English. And that's it. My family that's a finish line for them. My mom doesn't speak English. My grandma doesn't speak English. I come from a long line of folks who don't speak English, who came to this country because they thought this would create a better chance for me. So, I'm a swift English speaker, but they're not. And so it's a heavy burden. I, have to speak for them, represent for all of us, and then I have to also fight for us when in the spaces that folks say, "This is America, speak English." What is, English is, it's a killer for us. It's frustrating to watch my parents, struggle because they don't speak the language. It's frustrating to think that I didn't go away far from college, because who would translate for my mother? Who would interpret for whomever? My mom feels like I'm a cool little toy, so whoever needs help, she sends me their way, but who would do what I do? And so it's frustrating. It's some days you're just like, oh my God, why am I always having to do this? Why do I have to remind folks that there's 70,000 people, right, of Hispanic descent in the city? Why is it that we always have to remind folks that stuff should be in Spanish? Why is it that we don't have a Spanish news station? Why is it that we just got a Spanish radio station that barely works? Why is it that information only is selected as to who it gets to go to? And so I have to be that voice, but then it's when do I get to really be me if I always have to fight something? And so that's the thing is you're continuously in this fighting stance. So there's never any room to breathe. There's never really, what it looks like to me is you look over at the sea, and some people look at the ocean and they're happy because they see these waves and they see the clear blue water, right? But what I see are drowning bodies. because everybody is coming up gasping for air. And no matter how many times we come up to gasp for air, we never get a whole breath full. We're always like trying to come back up, trying to come back up. And as many times as I try to reach over and pull out, at that same time, I'm getting pulled back under, right? So there's never a wave where we're just in relief. And even now, like as things get worse, like they're just not getting better. Now we're seeing more drowning bodies. Now they're not just drowning, now they're just floating, that I couldn't help anymore. And I couldn't do anything. So the work is never finished. It's never done. And no matter how good I do, I'm never catching that wave where, oh my God, I've reached the sand and we've landed. Equity means that I can have a job. I can plan for my future in a way that I don't have to be concerned about, will I still be employed? Or will me being too outspoken get me fired finally? Like, you know what I mean? Like where I can say things and not be scared that, oh, maybe I went too real that time. You know, where I can just freely just say what I want and not have to really dissect every space that I'm in and wonder like, oh, did I take it too far? Or like, is this the time that folks are going to look at me and say, she was too black, we got to get her out of here? And so I think that it just means that people can live how they want to live and be who they want to be and be paid for their value instead of what someone else is thinking they're worth. I think there's so much work to do. I think that I think we have to challenge ourselves. I think there are a lot of places, there are a lot of organizations, there are a lot of businesses who are claiming to do things, who are claiming to be proactive. If I hear the word diversity, I know that program isn't doing anything. I know that business isn't doing anything because it's a buzzword. It means nothing. It means there's no proof, there's no put in there for you to look at. I think that we all have to challenge ourselves in the spaces that we're in. And we all have to start saying, well, no, you didn't create anything yet. No, you didn't change anything yet. No, your practice is still the same. You talking your talk, but you're not walking it. You know, people preach all these things, but they don't practice what they preach. And it means that we have a lot of work to do. We have, and it also means for us brown folks, it means that we have to pull other people up. Like a lot of us get up to the top and we become elitists. You know, that's never who I want to be. I want to be able to turn around and say, all right, yay, come, let's go. I did this. This is how you figure it out. So I think we have to challenge ourselves, and when we get there, it's not just about challenging ourselves. It's about actually creating something. It's about actually making a difference. It's about actually making that phone call that makes you uncomfortable. It's about questioning people's motive, their intentions, and when it's not clear, then you need to ask those clarifying questions to say, wait, you said you were going to do this. It's been 6 months. You've done nothing. How do we create that? And we have to hold people accountable for what they don't do. We don't have any of that in our city, in our country, anywhere. There's no space where that happens. I think for white people that don't get it, they need to understand that the expectation is really low for them. Currently, all we expect them to do, and I wouldn't say that's not what I expect, but like society at large, we'd like to hear them say, well, we've thought about this. We felt a way about this, but what did you do? The question always lies in where their lack of action is. There's not enough white people who are doing things. It doesn't matter in what sphere. We can pick anyone. You have all these different seminars, you have all these different blogs, you have all these different conversations, but it's not about that. It's not about your process. It's about what your action is. It's about what you're willing to do, how uncomfortable you're willing to be as you push for things to be different. Yeah, I may have a job. It took me 6 years to get this job. Yeah, I may have a spot right now, but how long can I actually keep it? The problem is that you're not really willing to do anything. There's not enough of your skin in the game. I'm the one who pays the price every time. How about you pay this time? How about you let your position put it to the test? If you're the leader, if you're leading things, then change that. You do that. You create the change. You hire that black woman. You hire that black man. You put all your information in Spanish. You change your website. You do that. You pay the price. Even if it's monetary or if it takes away from your position, you have to challenge yourself because they don't do enough. They just say, we felt that. Oh, we talked about that. Oh, we went to that great seminar where we explored what it was like to be black and we did that little diversity training. It's not about that. It's about what you're really doing. And because I don't care about your process. I care about your results. There is no results. There's no program in the country that you can point at that says, well, it was a great program and they left here and then they changed our organization in this way. There is none. Because there are still people, even these most inclusive places, like how many black folks are they really there? How many brown folks really are there? So example, today is the 5th year of Mike Brown. And when the indictment happened, it was a panel of all white folks. Why? Why was that space given to all white folks when it wasn't them who were affected? It was me. It was what my brothers, what my cousins, what my family members look like, what my friends look like. So question yourself every time when you create a diversity position and it's run by a white woman and the program is mostly white people. Well, are you really diverse? What is really happening here? What are you really producing here? If you don't produce anything, if there's no action behind what you're saying you learned or whatever, then you're doing nothing. You're still the same person that did that. You're still the same person before you did that program, before you did that training, before you attended that seminar. Nothing has changed. So if you don't do anything, if you don't produce anything, create scholarships, create opportunity, buy a vacant lot, give it away to someone who can use it in their community, sponsor 500 kids somewhere. Like, if you're benefiting from white privilege and you're doing nothing to create opportunities for Black and brown people, but you keep telling folks, oh, I learned from my white privilege, then you're not an ally. And question your allyship. Are you a true ally, or are you just saying that because it's a nice buzzword? Question yourself at every step and produce. If you don't produce, then you're just like everybody else. You're a part of the problem. Yo creo que la gente tiene que pelear por quien quieren ser. Yo creo que la gente tienen que levantarse, tienen que pelear. No es fácil. Es difícil, pero el racismo existe, nosotros sabemos que existe, lo sentimos, lo usamos como ropa. Tenemos que ser más inteligentes en los espacios que estamos. Tenemos que decirle a la gente que ya esto no podemos más nada, que no podemos seguir así y que las cosas tienen que cambiar. I really said we have to fight. We have to really fight. You know, we wear racism. Racism is real. We know it is, and we have to fight. Enough is enough. We have to wake up. We have to fight because it's affecting us.